Hi, everybody. The word is sectionalism. Right up here. Sectionalism. What does it mean? It means divisions. It means differences. New England is here, the West is here, the South is here. Over time, they had developed different entities, different identities, and as a result, they were clashing with each other. With the New England people, they were seeing so many of the very capable individuals moving west for a chance at the frontier, a chance to conquer the unknown, a chance for a new beginning. For the people in the South, it was the plantations, growing tobacco, growing cotton, growing sugar. You see, three different sections of the country having competing interests. And as a result, America was in the middle of you might call them growing pains. And America had to deal with it. Now, how we dealt with it was the trick, because there was one other issue. Yes, you had New England and its factories, and yes, you had the West and its kind of, I'll say, wild living, but they were kind of unproper, if you will. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. And the South had the established aristocrats of the plantations, the big landowners who owned the plantations. So you had those three things, but there was something else that was in the mix. And that something else was slavery. The North, no slavery. The South, slavery. Necessary, they claimed, in the South for their economy. Plantation owners needed slaves from Africa, brought them over here for the very sake of keeping their farms, keeping their ranches, keeping their economy growing, picking the cotton, taking the tobacco out, picking the sugar. Everything that they were doing on their farms, they needed a slave. It's interesting to note that out of a population of probably 6 million people in the South, there were about 380,000 or 350,000 slaves. But still, for that part of the country, slavery was huge. And since these southern states had power in Congress because of their numbers, any kind of law that was passed had to meet the approval, or at least some kind of agreement had to be made with the lawmakers from the South. And that was tough, because letting go of slavery would not be an easy task. Now, what happened? Well, you did have a couple of major pieces of legislation passed. The major piece of legislation was Compromise of 1820 and 1850. And the Compromise of 1820, Maine was introduced as a state, a new state, as a free state. Missouri was introduced as a state, as a slave state. And then there was one little caveat. Along the Mississippi line and further west, no more slavery. And so the tension was still there. It was even seen in 1850 when California became a state. California was free. Utah and New Mexico, they left slavery out of the document. And the contention of what was going to happen next was still up in the air. These were a divided country and a united country at the same time. And you know what? Unfortunately, in only a few years, we would see civil war. But as you can see, the groundwork had been laid. The differences between the sections of the country, the sectionalism, was obvious. And now, America was preparing for a conflict that no one would ever forget. I know your teacher has even more stuff for you to know. Later.